Thunderstorms are calming down, but parts of the Southeast Valley are still soaked after some major flooding. US 95 southbound was closed for more than 3 hours due to this mess, not too far from College and Wagon Wheel Drives. A traffic nightmare on Boulder Highway near Horizon Ridge. I should say Horizon Drive, from everyone trying to head towards Boulder City. So we have just learned now that State Route 158 is closed now in both directions due to some damage from flooding. Thanks for joining us here at 5. I'm Denise Valdez.
And I'm Christiane Klein in for Brian. We begin tonight with team coverage. In just a moment, we'll check in with Chief Meteorologist Ted Ferrando for a look at conditions across the valley.
Patrick Walker is live near Boulder Highway and Horizon Drive with more on that traffic headache. But let's start with Sasha Loftus live at Wagon Wheel and Old Vegas Trail, where we still see some standing water out there. Sasha?
Yes, Denise, this water just dried up momentarily, or a few moments ago, rather. It was right where I'm standing, about 5 feet deep just a few hours ago. A lot of standing water at this park here over at Wagon Wheel Drive and Old Vegas Drive. If you take a look here at this water line, you can see if this water was still here, it would come up to about my waist, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. Now, the highway in the area, as you also mentioned, it was also a huge mess. The 95 was closed between College Drive and Wagon Wheel. Because of that, about 3 feet of water in that area. Now, crews pumped that all out and moved mud and debris before they could reopen the highway around 3 this afternoon. It looks like it is moving pretty smoothly now from what we can tell. A couple of cars also stalled in rushing water. One was towed on Wagon Wheel at the 90. Another broke down in a running wash right around the corner. I spoke with one woman who's lived in the area for almost a decade. She took a 20-minute detour to safely avoid all of these closures. She says the danger of driving through just isn't worth it.
I drive a big Expedition and I won't go into the wash. I won't do it because too afraid to get stuck. No, it's not. No, I've always got one of my kids with me, and it's not just me that's in the car.
Now, a few neighborhoods in the area also saw some minor flooding, but most of it dried out a few hours ago. Now, the real risk we saw drivers dealing with was debris. We saw a lot of mud and gravel still stuck in the road, even stuck over some railroad tracks. And crews are, of course, working to clear that up, but it is a process, so watch for that. We also saw a few construction signs that were blown out into the middle of the road, so that's also something to watch for in those neighborhoods. And if you are thinking about driving through a flooded wash, remember, it's never a good idea. We always say water always wins, so just think twice before you think of doing that. We will have continued coverage coming up at 6 o'clock, but for now, reporting live, Sasha Loftus, 8 News Now.
All right, Sasha. Ted, continuing our team coverage now with a first look at the weather where you live. Ted?
Hey, and Denise, just to point out, this is how isolated those storms are, right? So we got hit hard in Henderson, but areas like, I'd say, Whitney Ranch didn't see anything at all, and just that isolated area gets a lot of rainfall. Now, Henderson storm, here's the details on that. Nearly 2 inches of rain fell in 30 minutes. That's how much rain we had. That created flash flooding. It forced the closure of the 515 and College. Just like Sasha had just pinpointed out, we picked about 3/4 of an inch of rain near Mission Park. We had reports of flash flooding at Red Rock Canyon, Mountain Springs Ranch, Level Canyon up in Spring Mountains as well. Meanwhile, satellite radar shows conditions have quieted down across the region. We had that storm that we pinpointed out to you earlier down here. As it made its way up, it sort of fizzled out. We've just seen a few passing isolated showers, and that's been about it as the airs began to stabilize. Right now, we have one flash flood warning up there in Lincoln County. Caliente, you're within this as we see plenty of storms up there. We also have flash flood watches in effect for not Las Vegas, but around the region. Evening Planner shows those storm chances for tonight as well. Slight chances by late night tonight. And then guess what? Humid by tomorrow morning. More storms in the forecast again for tomorrow. Every time we see downpours in the valley, the rain tests our flood control system. Patrick Walker is live along Boulder Highway working up here. The canals did their job, right, Patrick?
Yeah, that's right, Ted. You know, they did seem to do their job. We're only about a mile or so away directly downstream on this canal from where Sasha is at. Some of the muddy water we saw, that is from directly coming out of where Sasha was. I'll show you what it looks like now. You can see that things moved out very quickly. Now just down to a light trickle. And something else that's at a trickle, if we zoom out, you can see the traffic is a trickle. But earlier, it was bad. Let me show you some video. This was all as a result of the freeway closing. All of the southbound traffic, of course, heading toward Boulder City. Well, they had to go out somewhere onto the surface streets here in Boulder City, or excuse me, here in Henderson is where they ended up, along Boulder Highway, and then again on Horizon. Both of those streets turned really into parking lots. Just absolutely, traffic could not move. We saw an RTC bus that, as we were counting the light poles, it was trying to move along here on the road. We calculate about 200 yards apart. It took him better than 10 minutes to get that far. The good news is about 3:45 traffic opened up. Things now back to normal. So as we come back out here live, you can see the flood threat is over. Thankfully, all of this happened in the middle of the day. Imagine if it would have happened right now during rush hour. Reporting live, I'm Patrick Walker, 8 News Now.